Okay, my name is Sirpa and I work as a forensic psychologist in Riihimäki prison. And Riihimäki prison is the only high security prison in Finland. So our clients have mostly long sentences and lots of personal issues, and that makes our job challenging every now and then. Last year there was a tragic incident in Finland when 3 teenagers murdered brutally another teen. And a couple of weeks ago, this investigator in charge, Detective Inspector Marko Fors, said in one interview, this case is unique. When you look at the photos and videos and investigate the case, it really goes under your skin. But the worst part is seeing the pain of the relatives of the victim. And he continued, however, you must see this as a job. Still it hurts. We are not robots after all. So when we are exposed in our job to unique cases like this, day after day, in a way we may get infected. And sometimes we speak about emotional infection or infectious trauma. And this is really a significant concern for law enforcement administrators or people who work in trauma-filled situations, for example, in the criminal justice system. So this emotional infection is actually secondary traumatic stress or vicarious traumatization or compassion fatigue. These are slightly different, but these are all related to stress. And this secondary traumatic stress is a result of indirect exposure to a traumatic incident or some material. For example, oftentimes stories of our clients can be really distressing. Or, for example, pre-trial investigation records may contain very traumatized things. So what is the red flag? What are the symptoms of secondary traumatic stress? Well, those symptoms are often the same that people experience after primary trauma. And there is a variety of different symptoms, so it is sometimes very difficult to recognize what's going on. But people who suffer from secondary traumatic stress may notice that their work product begins to slip, or they may have sick leaves for various reasons oftentimes. Or they may have feelings of guilt or hopelessness, self-doubt or irritability, sometimes hypervigilance, which is actually one of the main symptoms in PTSD. Or they may notice social withdrawal, so that they are no longer eager to meet anyone outside their job. Also, some kind of professional cynicism is quite often one symptom of this secondary traumatic stress. So as you see, there are a lot of different symptoms. And one thing, when we are exposed to human suffering all the time, so it may change the way we see our own environment. And in a way we can lose the confidence that good is still possible in the world. And sometimes the attitude in many criminal justice systems may still be just suck it up and move to a next case. When we are trained to be strong and independent, so we can really imagine that we are bulletproof, that nothing can harm us. Or we may have the idea that this doesn't concern me. And that's one reason why it's so difficult to seek help or accept help or even admit our own vulnerability. But we all have a breaking point, and when we hear our clients' difficult stories all the time and we are exposed to traumatic material, so it can really make us sick. One thing that I think it is important is to understand some basic things about stress. It's difficult to define stress because it's different for each of us. It depends on our own interpretations or evaluations. And also we have to remember that stress can be useful. It is, after all, an adaptive response. Sometimes we speak about good stress or bad stress. But just imagine when we are in a real danger. So due to this stress response or stress reaction, our body is ready for anything. We can fight or we can flight. And so this life-preserving stress reaction is it is automatic and it is fast. But when these physical dangers are replaced by psychological stress triggers, our body still reacts as if we were in real danger. So let's still imagine that we have been in a situation and we have successfully fight against a saber-toothed tiger. Then we can take a deep breath and just relax. And what happens, so the break of our nervous system calms the stress reaction down. But when the threat is psychological in origin, so our brain still reacts as if we were in a real danger. And this is what can happen when we are dealing with difficult things in our job. And that's how long-term exposure to stressors can harm eventually our health and well-being. And then we can speak about chronic stress or burnout or secondary traumatic stress. So actually we can mitigate the negative effect of job-related stress, but we have to be able to identify our stressors and recognize trauma symptoms. And also we need to learn how to use positive coping strategies and boost our resilience. What is important in our job sometimes, so we have to set emotional boundaries and keep proper professional distance to our clients, for example. If it is possible, so try to limit your caseload, at least avoid workaholism. And never forget to have time for leisure. We also have lots of different programs for self-care, some like practicing mindfulness, also peer support can be very important. If you want to find more information, so this professional quality of life scale, it's a good website to find this information. And sometimes we need to soothe our nervous system during our work days. So what happened to me yesterday in my job in the prison, so let me tell. In the morning I had a difficult meeting with one prisoner. And before entering to that meeting room, I already knew that I wouldn't have anything easy to be expected. So I tried to prepare myself to that meeting, and I tried to be as mindful and as present as possible. And I knew that I have to be able to regulate my own emotions and tolerate whatever disturbing emotions might be there. But however, when I entered that meeting room and when I met that client, so quite soon I noticed big reactions in my own body, because that prisoner was really anxious and he's really traumatized himself. So what I noticed tension in my muscles. And I noticed how my breathing changed. And this is what I could call emotional infection. It happened straight away. And then I tried to remind myself. I said to myself, sit up straight and hold your chin up. Feel your feet in the floor. And this is what we call like groundation. So we feel like even when we change our own bodily position, so it makes a difference. And moving around a little in your chair, so it, in a way, it breaks this infection. And of course, I tried to take deep breaths and relax my muscles, but it is sometimes so difficult. And swallowing intentionally a few times when you are stressed, this is actually, it is a straight message to your nervous system. It's a straight message to your vagus nerve. And all these little tips, they tell to our nervous system that no worries, it's okay. And also, one thing that I do every day during my work day is that I go for a little walk, because I really need to go out the prison every day so that I can soothe my nervous system a little. But whatever works for you, try these things. We are different, so maybe this is not okay for you, but this works for me. Sometimes we judge ourselves and we make unreasonable demands on ourselves. So what if we offered kindness to ourselves instead? Or how about a bit of self-compassion every now and then? So wherever you are right now, take a deep breath and pay attention how things are right now. If you want, you can silently repeat these words in your mind. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be well. Take good care of yourself and remember, we are not robots after all. Thank you.